Hi guys, it's me again, Lyin Official. Nagbablog para sa inyo ng pawang katotohanan lamang at walang halong kasinungalingan. Ito ay vlog na totoo ang nilalaman. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening po sa atin pong mga subscribers, viewers, and followers. Sana po ay lagi kayong nasa mabuting kalagayan. Ngayon po ay January 24, 2025, Friday. So, ang pag-uusapan po natin ngayon ay ang press conference ng DBM Budget Forum on Budget Execution for Fiscal Year 2025. Ito po yung nilabas ni FPRRD na may something-something daw po sa budget ngayong 2025. And then, yung mga supporters po niya, hindi na po magkaintindihan. Yung isa, ang sabi, mga blanco sa BICAM report, pinag-uusapan, hindi sa GAA. And then, itong isang supporter naman niya, ang sabi niya, mga blanco sa 2025 GAA, hindi allowed at illegal. So, magkaiba po yung topic nung dalawang supporter ni FPRRD. Yung isa, BICAM report, tapos yung isa, 2025 GAA. Ito po yung may blank pages di umano. And then, yung isang supporter pa rin ni FPRRD na si John Abines. Ang sabi niya, the greatest robbery ever caught on camera. Papiyaw lang guys Ang sabi niya dito sa post niya, President Marcos Jr. can now be officially labeled as the greatest thief who ever lived. Along with his co-conspirators, he was caught on the act of stealing money by issuing a blank check for themselves at the cost of taxpayers. Yun po yung unang paragraph. So, puntahan po natin yung sinabi ni Yusek Libiran. Idinibunk niya po yung sinabi ni Jun Abines. So, ang sabi niya dito, so ito na ang sinasabi ko. Bakit ang laki ng problema niyo sa isang public official na ang ginawa lang ay nagdebunk sa fake news ni Jun Abines? I repeat, debunk yun sa post ni Jun Abines. Kahit ako nga nag-post para i-debunk yung specific post niya na yun na puno ng misinformation. Kung kinuha niya yung sa King of Tanim Intriga, mali pa rin ang post niya dahil sinabi niya mismo na GAA ang may blanks. Yusek Goddess Hope Libiran does not owe anyone explanation for the clarification she made because debunking fake news is the right thing to do. Yet she still took the time to go live today to explain to you once again kung ano ang purpose ng post niya at kung ano ang nangyaring process sa Congress sa pagpasa ng GAB. Pero itong mga magagaling na guardians of truth, instead na magpasalamat kayo dahil sa may clarification na tungkol sa issue, patuloy nyo siyang minamak at pati ang mga kamag-anak niya kinakalabit nyo. Ano man ang kinalaman ng relatives niya sa post niya, masyado ng off-tangent ang mga personal na attacks na wala namang connection sa sinulat niya. It goes to show na wala talaga kayong kapasidad na mag-engage sa level discourse at ang goal lang ninyo ay manira ng manira. Wala rin kayong respeto sa serbisyo niya sa admin ni PRRD. Dati hinahangaan niyo pa yan, pero dahil sa clarification post na kasama sa trabaho niyo, dinidemolish niyo niya. What makes this even more egregious is that you don't know what this public official is going through outside of work. You don't know her circumstances, her stress, or the weight of the responsibility she carries. Yet, instead of admitting to yourself that you've been duped by Jun Abines, pinagtatanggol nyo pa. Hindi ba dapat i-call out nyo si Jun Abines? Hold him accountable for what he wrote. Ask him bakit siya nagsulat ng fake news that caused so much division. O bakit hindi nyo man lang siya ma-challenge dahil hindi nyo ma-overcome ang fanaticism nyo sa mga Dutertes? This isn't just a failure to understand the facts. It's a failure to recognize who the real fake news peddler is and who is trying to correct misinformation. I hope the House of Representatives will summon June Abines to answer questions about this misinformation. Tanungin niyo siya kung ano ang motivation niya. Bakit niya sinabi na greatest robbery ever caught on camera? Kung hindi pa nga nagastos ang budget at wala pa ngang audit ang COA. Sino ang source niya nagaa ang may blanks? Dahil yan mismo ang sinulat niya. Can he admit that he willfully lied to and misled the DDS and so many people? Naiintindihan niya ba ang legislative process in the first place? By the way, I was just reading the comment section of this live video. Ang dami niyong tanong na hindi niya masasagot dahil hindi naman siya membro ng Congress. Pero kung sasagutin naman kayo based lang sa alam niya, kayo pa ang mag-akusa na defensive siya. So, saan lulugar? Also, those personalities who attacked her now without regard to the fact that she was and still is maybe a supporter of Duterte only show us that in politics, friendship is an unheard of term. Kaya don't bother forging even shallow friendships. Ka-credit po natin ito kay Live Awake Theatan. So ayan, dinibunk na nila yung sinasabi ni June Abines. Then after that, after siyang mag-post ng yung sinabi niyang the greatest robbery ever caught on camera, nag-post ulit siya. Sabi niya doon, this account will be deactivated within today. Thank you. Sabi niya doon sa post niya. Magde-deactivate kasi hindi niya kayang panindigan yung pinost niya. So, ayun. So, ang sabi naman ni FPRRD on alleged discrepancies in the 2025 national budget. Ang sabi niya dito, please correct it or recall the budget and demand an explanation kung bakit dumating sa inyo yan na ganun ka-blanco. Parang binigyan ka ng blankong cheque dyan at bahala na kayo ano ilagay nyo. Former President Rodrigo Duterte, January 18, 2025. Ano pong sagot ni PBBM doon sa sinabi niya? He's lying. He's a former president. He knows that you cannot pass the GAA with a blank. Sa kasaysayan ng buong Pilipinas, hindi pinapayagan na magkaroon ng item ang GAA nang hindi nakalagay kung ano yung project at saka kung ano yung gastos. President Bongbong Marcos, January 20, 2025. Kung narinig nyo ang buong statement na puno ng mabibigat na akusasyon at mga baseless claims, kung totoo nga ang sinabi ng dating Pangulo, dapat tandaan na ang GAA ay dumadaan sa maraming proseso at ilang revisions. Kaya't mahalaga na tiyakin natin ang final na version ng dokumento o report na kailangang pormado ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na hindi pipirma sa anumang hindi kumpleto o kahina-hinalang dokumento na may kaduda-dudang signatoryo na may pangalang Mary Grace Piatos. The final and official version is made available to public. So whoever gave the content idea to a former president using his words must go to jail for spreading fake news. So guys, dumako naman tayo dito sa press conference tungkol sa DBM Budget Forum. Guys, pakinggan nyo yung sagot ni DBM Secretary.
Magandang umaga, Malacanang Press Corps. Welcome sa ating press briefing ngayong araw, January 24. Makakasama natin ngayon si Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin para ibahagi ang mga direktiba ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. kaugnay sa 2025 National Budget. Si National Economic and Development Authority Director General Arsenio Balisacan para sa mga naging tagumpay sa ekonomiya nitong 2024. Si Department of Budget and Management Secretary Amena Pangandama para sa budget execution matapos ang mga pakikipagpulong ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa Cabinet Secretaries. At kasama rin natin si Department of Agriculture Secretary Francisco Tsu Laurel. Good morning, yes, and secretaries. May we ask for Executive Secretary Bersamin for an opening statement.
Good morning to all of you members of the Malacanang Press Corps. Mabuti naman at you came over to the PICC to join us in this occasion. And kami ay nagagalak na ginawa ni Secretary Mina and the DBM, the Department of Budget and Management, itong pagkakataon na nandito kami sa PICC, pinulong kami lahat ng bureaucracy ng executive branch upang mas higit na malaman namin yung mga pangangailangan sa budget execution. Next Monday, we will have another session like this. So, I'd just like to relate to you that the President is really in earnest in seeing to the proper implementation of the budget, the surviving parts of the budget, because as you know, there were several items that were subjected to veto or to conditional implementation. So other than that, in order for you to have more time to ask your questions, I will defer to my colleagues who are in this panel.
Thank you, ES. May we ask Secretary Pangandaman to give an opening statement.
Yeah, just to add lang po what our Executive Secretary said. So this will be a two-day event, workshop for our Cabinet Secretaries. It's the very first. We've been doing this, but mostly for the technical staff. But this is the first time that our Cabinet Secretaries are present. What we did today is a budget execution workshop. We have we discussed the guiding principles on budget execution. We discussed the veto message of the President, one by one po yan, and the guidelines for the budget execution, the e-marketplace, and the new Government Procurement Act. This will be on Monday. We will discuss the budget call naman po for our 2026 national budget.
Thank you, Sec. Mina. Secretary Balisacan.
Yeah, thank you. The exercise that we performed this morning and to continue on Monday is very critical. It comes at the back of a report that we made to the Cabinet and to the President yesterday on the performance of the Philippine economy last year. And we took stock of those the lessons learned from that experience, and we are building that in the fiscal programming for this year, so the exercise that we are doing today in relation to the budget process is critical to ensuring that our economic momentum is continued. The socio-economic transformation that we want to achieve will be achieved and help us achieve all the indicators of socio-economic transformation that that the President has committed to deliver at the end of his administration, and that those are indicators present in the Philippine Development Plan.
Thank you, Secretary Balisacan. Secretary Tsu Laurel.
Well, this event is very welcome to me, especially ako isa sa pinakabago sa kabinete at bago sa gobyerno. Maraming nalinawan ko maigi ang paano mag-procure with the new system, dahil nag-crossover ako from the old system to the new system in just less than 6 months. No? So while still trying to learn the old system, it's very welcome, and I believe this event will make the DA perform faster and better for our farmers and fisher folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Tsu Laurel. We're now opening the floors for questions. Maricel Halili, News 5.
Magandang umaga po. Secretary Amina, pakilinaw lang po yung naging pahayag ni Representative Ungab na merong mga blank items doon sa BICAM report. Sino po yung nag-fill in nitong mga blanks na ito bago siya na submit bilang endorsed bill?
Yung kayo na rin po nagsabi, it's the BICAM report po. So, may technical working group po yan from the House of Representatives and the Senate of the Philippines. So, siguro, we can just go back a little lang on the budget process or the legislative process. Siguro I can share a little bit because it came from the Senate po. I was a young staffer from back then. So, pag napasa na po yung batas from the Senate and the House, magbabaycam sila. So, ang i-report po sa floor at ang i-ratify ng floor, yung mga napagkasunduan nung dalawang houses. Kasi minsan po, magkaiba ang version nila. So, ang i-report po nung chairman ng appropriation at saka chairman ng finance na ipapasa nung dalawa yung agreements nila doon sa mga provisions ng pinasa nilang bill. So, yun po yung BICAM. Pagkatapos po yun na-ratify, babalik po sila sa kanilang mga technical staff and then they will write it again. Lilinisin po nila kasi kung makikita nyo po, ang pinapasa lang po nila sa floor pag nag-ratify sila, even not just the budget po, pati yung mga ibang mga bills, manipis lang po yan. Yun lang pong mga napagkasunduan nila. And then all the rest, wala pa po yan. So babalik po sila sa technical working group nila, sa mga staff nila, isusulat nila na maayos, and then magkakaroon po ng enrolled bill, enrolled version. Yung enrolled version po, yun po yung pinapasa sa Office of the President na pirmado po ng Speaker of the House at saka yung officer po niya, Senate at saka yung Secgens po nila. So yun po yung makakarating sa Office of the President. So yung sinasabi po nila na blanco, sila din lang din po ang makakapagpuno nung blanco.
So walang nakarating sa Office of the President na may blank items? Like,
Di po kasi nakakarating sa Office of the President ang ratified, yung nira-ratify nila sa floor. Kasi iba po ang format nung nira-ratify.
and another clarification, Secretary, kasi sabi nga ni Presidente suboptimal yung description niya doon sa 2025 national budget. So nagkaroon ng adjustments like dun sa press conference ni Secretary Remulla, he said na merong mga additional na intelligence funds sa DILG, so kailangan i-transfer dun sa ibang mga programs. How does it work? Paano po yung magiging sistema noon? Paano yung magiging proseso ng pagta-transfer?
Meron po tayong tatlong mechanism on kung paano po natin pwedeng ma-prioritize yung mga programa po na hindi na naisama sa General Appropriations Act. You have to remember that we have the President's budget. Ito po yung ginawa po ng Cabinet together with the President. Ito po yung pinasa natin sa Kongreso. Ito po yung National Expenditure Program or the President's budget. May mga nakalagay po doon is consistent with our Philippine Development Plan, consistent with our socio-economic framework, consistent with the respective roadmaps of the different departments. So, sa Constitution po na ibibigay po yan sa Kongreso, tapos sila po ang magbibigay sa atin ng go signal kung ano po yung gusto nilang ilagay doon sa General Appropriations Act. Ngayon, nung lumabas po siya, of course, nagkaroon po ng mga amendments yung ating mga nasa lehislatura. Some of it are not yet shovel-ready and not consistent or hindi po siya priority ng mga department heads and secretary and the administration. So may tatlong mechanism lang po yan na pwede gawin. Hindi po natin pwedeng basta-bastang ibalik yan dahil bawal po sa atin yan. First, kung ano po yung existing na mga programa mo, may mga line items ka dyan, kung hindi mo po siya magagamit or nagkaroon ka ng savings, may different reasons po for savings, pinabid mo, mas mura yung lumabas nung pinabid mo. Pangalawa, ayaw mo na yung proyekto, ina-abandon mo na, I think hindi mo na siya priority. Yun po, pwede po tayo mag-augment, use of savings and augmentation. Ang process po niyan is that i-request po yan ng ahensya and it goes to the Office of the President for approval. Ang second po is use of unprogrammed appropriations. Of course, yung UA po, there are triggers po na ginagamit dyan para po magamit natin yung UA. Kailangan po meron tayong excess revenues certified by the Bureau of Treasury. So yun po, augmentation, savings, and UA. And yung last po is yung another fund po, yung use of contingent fund ng ating presidente. Ito po, mga new projects and urgent projects, pwede pong i-requesto ng mga department heads natin. Of course, we will ask for necessary documentation. Again, Office of the President lang din po ang mag-approve ng contingent fund. Yung tatlo lang po yun ang pwede natin gamitin.
Salamat po. Kay ES lang po. Sir, may we have your reaction doon sa sinabi ni Representative Ungab na plano niyang dalhin sa Supreme Court itong usapin ng DAA?
Hindi ko mapipigilan si Congressman Ungab at saka yung mga similarly minded people who would want to put up a challenge. Ang problema natin dyan is hindi kami ang mananagot dyan kung mayroon pang pagkukulang sa bagay na yan dahil BICAM report yan eh. Wala kami kinalaman sa BICAM report. Ang may kinalaman lang kami yung finished product na pinapirmahan sa presidente. Hindi yung blank check.
Next question, Ian Gutierrez, ABS-CBN.
Kay Secretary Pangandaman, meron pong criticisms on the modifications na ginagawa ng OE on the budget. Could you please explain to us yung legal basis po nitong mga adjustments na ito? Kasi like for example, tinatanong po ng ibang mga congressmen, can the President actually declare savings at the start of the year?
Di naman po, kasi savings nga po. So, nasan ba yung listahan ko kanina? Meron pong mga specific rules and regulations, may budgeting rules and guidelines po tayong sinusunod. Karamihan po doon ay nakalagay sa General Appropriations Act natin. Hindi ko lang memorize yung mga sections. Baka meron kayo dyan. Ano yung mga sections na kailangan. So yun, we follow that. Hindi po kami pwedeng magbalik. Again, hindi po pwedeng magbalik kami ng mga projects and programs na nawala sa GAA. Kailangan po nandoon siya. And may rules po yung tatlong sinabi kong mechanism. May general provisions po tayo for the use of savings, augmentation, and the use of program appropriations, and the use of contingent fund. I can provide po the details and the specific general and specific provisions.
Yes.
Gusto ko lang dagdagan. Mayroong kasing tanong, part of that question was, are there already savings as early as now? Yes, of course, because there are many vacant positions na nagkaroon na ng allocation sa budget. Ano? Pero if they are unfilled, January, they become savings for the month until na magkaroon ng occupant of that office. Yung sweldo doon, savings yun, technically speaking. So, yung characterization of those funds na hindi na spent for specific purposes beginning the year, this will be part of the savings. Only the President may, however, use the savings through his power of augmentation.
Thank you, ES. Next question, Ivan Mayrina, GMA7.
Secretary Balisacan, sir, with the President describing the budget as suboptimal, where does that put us in terms of our ability to achieve our targets for the year, considering that this is the year that we will cross the midpoint of the President's administration?
Okay. For this year, we're aiming to achieve 6 to 8% GDP growth, no? And we do believe that the current configuration of the government budget will allow us to focus on the critical services, and particularly for social protection, for food security, and for our basic infrastructure, including our flagship projects. Meron naman, kaya nang sinabi kanina, the mechanisms of augmentation can fill up those that were, especially those that are so critical, like the right-of-way requirements, for our major infrastructure projects. But let's note that the government expenditure is just about 15 to 20% of the total economy, so that it's really the private sector that drives the bulk of our economy. But the spending of government is so critical to enabling the entire economy from working efficiently, functioning well, so that we can achieve our targets.
Sorry, Secretary, E.S. Bersamin, sir, napag-usapan po ba dito sa forum ninyo kung ano ang magiging implication nitong looming legal constitutional challenges sa budget?
Di pa namin alam kung ano yung complexion ng mga challenges. We are just receiving this from the media that there will be challenges. But until we see the actual complexion of those, whatever challenge may be mounted, it is speculative for us to say or comment on any of them.
Pero ano ho kaya magiging scenarios should it come to that na magkaroon nga po ng legal challenge sa budget and then the Supreme Court steps in and
Wala.
declares it unconstitutional? Paano ho mangyayari sa budget natin?
Wala. Alam mo, the Supreme Court will never stop the budget from being implemented. Alright? I cannot understand if the Supreme Court will have that tendency to put a stop to it, even if any of those challengers will ask for a TRO. Because the government must function, must be run. Now, sasabihin nila, fall back on the reenacted budget. But the reenacted budget can come only when there is a finding that it has been vetoed or the government, the Supreme Court has nullified the present budget. But that is yet to be in the end of the year, or maybe when this resolution of these challenges will have been delivered. Okay, but right now, the government must continue to function. There is a duly approved budget subject to all those that were vetoed, the items. As we have been clearly telling, the effect of the veto is only to reduce the deficit, because that is all that the veto has as a consequence. The realignments will happen only later on in the spending process. Okay.
Sorry, last for me. Secretary Chu Laurel, sir, would you have an update for us on the declaration of a food security emergency?
Okay guys, masyado pong mahaba yung video. 52 minutes. Kaya ikakat na lang po muna natin dito. So yung video na po na narinig nyo, ika-credit po natin sa RTV Malacanang. So narinig nyo po yung paliwanag ni DBM Secretary Pangandanan. Ay, ano niya? Ulit? Amina F. Pangandaman. Yan, siya po yung secretary ng DBM. So, hindi po pwedeng pirmahan ng Pangulo ang GAA pag may blankong pages. So, idadagdag ko po dito yung sinabi po ni secretary ng NEDA. Kasi kasama po yung NEDA dito sa forum nila ngayong araw na ito. So, ang sabi po ni Secretary Balisacan, ekonomiya ng bansa impressive. Nananatiling kahanga-hanga ang economic performance ng bansa kahit na hindi naabot ang mga target nito para sa 2024. Ayon kay National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA, Secretary Arsenio Balisacan noong Biyernes. Ang Gross Domestic Product o GDP ng bansa ay lumago ng 5.8% sa unang tatlong quarter ng 2024. Mas mababa sa target nitong 6.5% hanggang 8.0%, ngunit ito ay nananatili pa ding mataas. Binanggit ni Balisacan na ang Pilipinas ay patuloy na isa sa mga nangungunang gumaganap sa mga umuusbong na ekonomiya ng Asya. Tinukoy niya ang agrikultura bilang isa sa mga sektor na may pinakamalaking pagkalugi sa ikalawang kalahati ng nakaraang taon dahil sa hindi inaasahan na bilang ng mga bagyo na tumama sa bansa. So, dagdag ko rin po kung ano yung sinabi ni Lucas Bersamin, ni Executive Secretary. Our mission today remains crystal clear: to serve the Filipino people with unwavering integrity, relentless dedication, and genuine compassion. Let us forge ahead, undeterred by the noise, focused on uplifting the lives of our Filipino to the best of our abilities. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, January 24, 2025. So, dito ko na po tatapusin ang ating topic ngayong araw na ito. Salamat po sa inyong pakikinig. Muli, si Lyin Eyes Official nagsasabing paki-subscribe ang ating munting channel, paki-like at paki-click na rin po yung ating notification button para updated po kayo sa ating mga videong i-upload. Ako po ay nagpapaalam na at laging iisipin, ang naniniwala sa sabi-sabi ay walang bait sa sarili. Paalam na po sa inyong lahat. Mag-ingat po kayo palagi. I love you all. Bye-bye.